Hello. hard to see. What? Okay. So somebody here. Hmm. Ah. One. Same thing. It has started. Hello. Welcome. sweet. Okay. I am so glad this worked. Can everyone hear me? I don't think so. So you all can hear me. Okay. Oh, sweet. Okay. Oh, I am so glad this worked. Part of the reason why I wanted to do YouTube Live is because this semester I'm teaching 2 sections of the same class. So to kind of limit myself, doing one class in Canvas and then having to do the exact same class over again in Canvas, I'm going to try something new this semester and we're going to focus on YouTube Live. I do believe that once this video has culminated, it will create a video. So I'm still trying to map out how do I want to upload the video to kind of ensure that everyone is watching them. Because what I've experienced in the past is that the students that are able to view the video live, they do really well in the class. And then other students that may or may not view the videos, you just have a lot more questions. So I'm trying to make sure of a way where I can ensure that everyone is at least watching the videos if you cannot attend class session live. You will be mixed in with both class sections. So definitely use this as an opportunity to meet new people outside of your specific class section, even though it is all online. We're all going to, be learning the same content. And hopefully, because I'm seeing everybody say the second link worked. It would be great if I could just kind of use the same link every week, but just have new classes. But I'll kind of play around with that and see how it goes. All right. So right now I'm showing that there are 21 of us in here. So I'll probably wait a little bit. I'll give it maybe about 5 more minutes, and then I'll kind of start with kind of going over the course and everything like that. Please know that like I said, it was definitely my intention to start everything at 6:30, but I was running late. I had to figure out this. So I do appreciate everyone who kind of held in there. No one was super rude when it was 6:30 and class didn't start. So I already feel really good about the semester. Like this will work moving forward. We will have class on Tuesday for both sections. So if you're in section 20 or 21, we're all going to have class on the same evening on Tuesdays. And then I'm going to upload the video because pretty much everything in this class will be due on a Sunday. So I didn't want to wait too late in the week to have the video because, I didn't want everyone to kind of feel bombarded like, okay, we have the class on Thursday, but then I only have 2 days to do the actual work. So I'm really glad that Tuesday seemed to be the day where most people could attend live. Now, if you want to subscribe to my channel, I would definitely encourage that, because once you are, once you're done with this course, I am an educator, so I will definitely work to always build and add other content that relates to education. So definitely feel free to subscribe, because I do intend to create more content via YouTube Live moving forward with, throughout the remainder of my career. So it's just a great way for me to kind of keep up and keep in contact with all of my students. Oh, what happened? If you know anybody that's in this class and they haven't been able to get in, please let them know to use the second link. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and get started because now it's 7:21. Okay, so welcome. My name is Dr. Alicia Marie Brown. I'm not super hung up on you calling me doctor. However, I do prefer doctor or professor. Um, let's stick to, gender neutral pronouns. As we move forward in the course, if you have a preferred pronoun that you would like for me to use, you can just kind of inbox me or message me so I know when I'm communicating with you. I'll use whatever preferred pronouns you have. Although I usually just try to stick to gender neutral pronouns to begin with. I have been in education since 2008. It was my first job. It's really the only job I've ever had. I taught fifth grade science in Cedar Hill for 5 years. And once I got my master's, I have been an instructional coach. I've been an instructional coach in Grand Prairie and Arlington. I'm currently an instructional coach in Arlington. All of my all of my teaching experience and instructional coach experience has been at the elementary level, predominantly pre-K through 6. I am not bilingual, but I have worked a lot with bilingual campuses, and I do have an understanding of the Gomez and Gomez bilingual framework. I am not in SPED, but again, if you've been teaching the elementary long enough, I'm pretty well versed in the SPED process. So if you have, like, if you kind of know what you want to do once you get in the classroom, definitely ask questions, and I can explain how this, or I can explain whatever it is I'm talking about in the class. I can say, okay, and this is what it would look like, at this grade level, or this is what it would look like if you were a SPED teacher, so on and so forth. So definitely interact with me as I'm speaking, and I can cater the lecture to your needs. Okay, so brief introductions, kind of got that out the way. Welcome to Intro to Human Development. I believe most of the students I usually get want to become teachers. So I definitely try to embed um, as much practical advice in terms of how you can utilize what you're learning in my course and how you can apply it to your actual teaching and pedagogy once you're in the classroom. So that leads us to our syllabus. I'm not going to do a lot of toggling back and forth. I haven't figured out how to share my screen yet. So at this point, I would probably suggest on your own, kind of open up a tab so you can be in things, you can kind of follow along with me that way, because I'm not able to log into Canvas. Oh, okay. Okay. It says I'm back. Right now, go ahead and log into Canvas, either on your phone, your iPad, anywhere, just so you can kind of be following along with me as I explain some things. So, in the Canvas course, you should have your modules, your quizzes, conferences, everything like that to the left. In terms of some settings that you may want to toggle, you should have it set to where you are getting alerts from me at least once a week, if not daily. But I do understand that everybody has a lot of classes. I'm not the only professor that you have. So definitely have it set to where you are notified, to get things from me at least once a week. I do use the announcement. I use the announcement feature a lot, and I primarily email through Canvas. So, and part of the reason why I do that is because my UNT Dallas email account, it can get really bogged down with things outside of actual instruction. So generally when I'm communicating with students, I like to communicate through Canvas because I can kind of beeline, and I know I don't have to sift through, emails from the provost or emails from the dean. I can just focus on the emails that I receive from the student. So I primarily use Canvas. As you guys have probably seen over the past few days, I definitely will, I probably over communicate. So, and sometimes if one student has a question, I may respond and hit reply all if I feel like, it's something that the entire class will benefit from. So, Canvas is my primary tool for communicating. And when you are trying to communicate with me, the easiest thing to do would just be to message me. Just go ahead and message me through Canvas. Now, the next piece, if you're in Canvas, there should be a link that says syllabus. I really love this feature because it has every assignment tied to a specific date. And I've also included everything on the calendar feature through Canvas. So all of the assignments have the due date. So you should be able to kind of log in and on Canvas, and you can go to the calendar feature, and it will definitely give you an at a glance look of what all is due this particular month. I have set pretty much everything to have a Sunday deadline. So pretty much what that will look like is we will have class on Tuesday to talk about the important information from that week. And then it will be due that Sunday. Now, speaking of due, I don't have hard deadlines. If you've had me before, or if you know people who have had me, they probably told you I don't have hard have to. So everything that you get, I think up to the midterm, you pretty much have up until the midterm to turn that in. Now, I know, and sounds, oh wow, I got forever. And trust me, you don't. Because every single week you will have something new to turn in. Please don't wait until the midterm and try to take the whole course a week before everything is due, because you will get caught up. I've seen it happen pretty much every single semester. So if you don't turn in something on the exact due date, you definitely want to make sure that you're at least turning it in maybe 5 days within that due date, only so you don't feel bogged down with all of the work that you have to do in this course along with other courses. So that is how the due dates work. And I always get emails that always say, oh, such and such and such, can I still turn this in? Can I still turn that in? I'm telling you now, yes. You don't have to email me asking if you can turn something in. I'd much rather you spend that energy just working and turning it in. The only time you can't turn something in is if you let it go beyond the midterm. And at that point, you'll know, because I will communicate via announcement to kind of let everybody know, hey, if you're working, you want to make sure that you get this stuff turned in, because assignments are locked. So you have the first half of the semester to complete the first half of the assignment. After the midterm, everything chapters 1 through 7 will be locked. So at that point, if you've already received a 0, if you've already received a failing grade, that's it. And then basically it will start over the second half of the semester going to the final. So that means our second half of the semester, we're pretty much going to focus on chapters 8 through 18. And then then it kind of starts over. So then at that point, your hard deadline would be the end of the semester, kind of make sure that you have everything turned in up through the final. I'm going to stop talking here. If anybody has a question, go ahead and type it into the chat box, and I'll just kind of be quiet for a little bit. But if I don't see any questions, I'm going to continue moving forward to talk about, some other important things in class. Okay. Nadia has a question. Nadia, go ahead and type your question into the chat box, please. Oh, okay. All right. So if it's about assignments, hold on a second. I haven't got there yet. Does anybody have a question about like due dates or anything like that? I think I was okay. All right. So that leads me to my next segue, which are the assignments. So Currently, if you want to have, okay, Nadia, what's your question about the due dates? Tests are not timed, Alma. Okay, so for your assignments, pretty much every week, you will be responsible for a discussion board post and a quiz. So on, okay, thank you for that. I probably need to go in and look at it on Canvas because it should not be locked at all. Nadia, what section are you in? Are you in section 20 or 21? All right. I'm going to just explain the next piece because I think I'm going to hit what everybody is saying. All right. So the way that I have my course set up is self-paced, but don't tell anybody because if people find out it's self-paced, I'll have to implement hard deadlines. So I have everything set up in modules, and basically you unlock the next module if you've completed everything in the first module. So right now, most people are in module where it says start here, and you should have completed the technology assignment. Okay. Once you've completed start here, then the next module will open up, and that module is course overview and information. Now, this part is very, very, very important. You have to go through every single page in the module to get to the next piece. So before you can get to the discussion post, you need to go to the page where you go over the overview and the learning materials. Before you can get to that, you need to make sure that you click on the page that says learning materials. So you have to go through every single page and every single module in sequence, or modules will be locked. The reason why I have it set up that way is because the learning from one chapter will build on the learning to the next chapter. And this is just to prevent students kind of going through the course out of order. So I didn't want, students to kind of jump and pick and choose the things that they wanted to do and the things they wanted to wait. Yes, you have to do the modules in order. That is hard. So you're not able to skip through different things because everything that I have on a page is with intention and with purpose. And I guarantee you, if you're skipping around, then you're going to create gaps and you're going to create holes. So that would explain why some of you may be experiencing certain things are locked. It probably means that there was a page that you skipped over. And so you need to double back and make sure that you clicked on every single page. Okay, so in terms of the what is your why, that should be a discussion post that's in week 1. And again, it has a due date because according to the syllabus, that is something that is due at the end of week 1. So again, it's almost like a timeline. So you can kind of keep track and say, okay, I know by this time I need to be on this module, and then on this time I need to be by this module. So again, the due dates are just to kind of keep you on track, but that doesn't mean that if you turn it in late, I'm going to deduct points. I don't deduct points on time. I deduct points based on quality. So If you turn in something and it is turned in late, but the quality is on point and you are deserving of a 100, I'm going to, you're going to get a 100. So I grade based on quality, not if not when you turn something in or not. So that kind of explains how you kind of navigate through the course. You gotta make sure that you click on every single page. Okay, so now the next piece. Okay, so the next piece would be our assignment. Okay, let me. When I'm done with the class, I'll click over and unlock it, Nadia, because this laptop is really slow. And I feel like if I go do that, it'll kind of mess up the stream. But thank you for bringing that to my attention. Okay, so the next big thing to talk about is our assignments. And if you go on Canvas, hopefully it has the assignments kind of grouped. So your first group of the every single week. So I'm letting you know now, every single week. Oh, since the connection is unstable. Okay, every single week you'll have a discussion post that will go with the chapter and then some learning materials that I've included that will kind of help you understand some of the major or big points or major main ideas within the chapter. So you should go through and kind of look through that, see all your discussion. Then after that, you have quizzes. You're going to have you're also going to have a quiz every week. Now, the first part of the semester, because the information is really dense, most of your quizzes are just going to be over one chapter. But then as we go later into the second half of the course, I kind of grouped some chapters together because at that point, I'm kind of focusing on specific information that I really want us to focus on. Because again, knowing that most of us are going to be educators, we're going to be dealing with kids. So I kind of cater the class to where we spend a lot of time discussing those particular stages, and then the later stages, I kind of group and pick and choose things that we want to focus on. So if you're able to go in Canvas and kind of see your quizzes, that's why that happens. All right, and then we have every single quiz 1 through 18. Now the next piece are your assignments. Okay, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4 major assignments. And these are assignments that you definitely want to start on sooner rather than later. Because again, these assignments will be due when you also have to work on a discussion board that may be due that week or a quiz that may be due that week. So your first assignment is it's on the infancy stages. And essentially what that is you'll kind of create a PowerPoint or any type of visual where you outline the infancy stages. This particular assignment, you will be required to record yourself presenting. That's big. And I'm letting you know now, if you do not turn in a video if you don't record yourself presenting, you will fail that assignment. I'm just kind of letting you know now. So even if you turn in the most beautiful PowerPoint in the history of PowerPoint, if you also don't include a video of you presenting and speaking through your PowerPoint, you will fail. So I'm letting everybody know that now. What most people do is they record themselves via YouTube just because it's easier to kind of, most people already have YouTubes on their phones or something like that, and it's free. So that's generally what I suggest. And then that way you can just send me the link and I don't necessarily have to download anything. I can just watch your YouTube video really quickly. If you are able to click, it might be locked, but please know that every single assignment page, I include a very detailed description and a rubric. Usually every semester, it never fails. A lot of times students will get feedback and the feedback is directly tied to the rubric. So before you do an assignment, yes, Nadia, the only people that will be watching the videos this week. So before you do an assignment, double, triple read the description along with the rubric. Okay, so that's your first major assignment, the human development activity. Okay, now your next 3 assignments. So the human development activity on toddlerhood, childhood, and adolescence, those are all going to be lesson plans. So for those weeks when they're due, our class session will pretty much be about the lesson plan. So Gina, you probably can't see the assignment because it's currently locked, but if you are on the left-hand side and you see the link that says assignments in Canvas, hopefully you should at least be able to see a list of the assignments and their due dates. But all the assignments are published. Okay. So now I'll kind of stop there. Oh, I also have some extra credit assignments. If something is extra credit, it will say EC. Any specific format you prefer the lesson plan to be, fine. Okay, so all of that will be explained in the description of the assignments. So according to the rubric, I have different things that I kind of want you to hit according to the rubric. Now, I will include a lesson plan template just so you don't have to necessarily search for one. But if you are currently student teaching or you're kind of already in the classroom and you already have a lesson plan format that you're comfortable with, that's fine too. You just want to make sure that you have the necessary component as outlined by the rubric. Now, the rubric you won't be able to see until you get to the actual until you get to the actual assignment page. Lucy, will the assignments tell us how long the video needs to be? Okay, so going back to the infancy presentation, I never ever dictate how many slides you need to have, nor do I dictate how long the video needs to be, because that's really going to be contingent upon you and how you present. The only thing I ask for is that you present the information that I'm asking you to present. So for the infancy project, in the description, it says create a PowerPoint that illustrates major themes that emerge during infancy. Please include a discussion about factors that influence infants' attachments with their caregivers, factors that influence infants' brain and cognitive development, as well as key factors that influence infants' physical and social development. So you pretty much have to make sure that you present the information, and you can do that with however many slides or however long it takes, because that's dependent upon you. Do we need to dress up to present? No, you don't. But again, don't be in your pajamas laying in bed either. So just kind of make sure that someone will be watching the video. For the lesson plan, can we choose our own grade level? Yes, you can. So pretty much the lesson plans they're going to be based upon human development stages. So like when you have to develop a lesson plan for toddlerhood, I'm going to give you some parameters because, if you're writing a lesson plan for a toddler, you already know, don't turn in an 8th grade lesson plan. There's no toddlers in the 8th grade. So the grades will kind of be self-explanatory once you get to those specific stages. And then also in the description, I'll include, if you're writing a lesson plan for the adolescent, that would include grades through, 8th grade up to, a senior in high school. So I hope I answered that question. So you'll be able to choose your own grade level, but there will be parameters that you have to follow and adhere to. Okay, so we talked about assignments. The next thing are the midterm and the final. So your midterm is 50 questions, and the midterm and the final, they're both 50 questions, and they will include questions from quizzes that you have already taken. So this is a very important part of the session, and I really want to make sure that everybody's listening to this. So what that means, when you take a quiz on in Canvas, when you take the quiz, I think I have it set to, if after your second attempt, it should show you what you got right and what you got wrong. Take a picture of your screen after every single quiz you've taken. That way, you'll kind of have a bank of which questions are right and which questions are wrong. So I'm going to repeat that. Your midterm and your final are comprised of questions that you've already taken. So like your midterm is going to cover chapters, I believe, 1 through 7. So quizzes 1 through 7, those questions, I basically just kind of cherry pick different questions from the quizzes and I put those on the midterm. So for the most part, every single question you've already seen. So as you go through and take the quizzes, once you like got done taking it and you got your grade, go ahead and take a picture. So that way you'll know which questions you got right and which questions you got wrong. Your midterm and your final, you'll have a week-long window and you will get 2 attempts. Now, don't wait until, if the final is due on Sunday. Please don't have the expectation that you can turn it in Saturday and then I'm going to grade it and then you'll also get another chance to turn it in. So if you want to take advantage of the 2 attempts as it pertains to the midterm and the final, you need to make sure that you've taken them by Wednesday. Because again, I always have my due date set to about Sunday. So if you take it by Wednesday, I usually can get it, in a quick enough turnaround to grade it, and then you get another opportunity to take it again and kind of see where you messed up. But the multiple choice questions, those get graded immediately. So a lot of students that I've seen is if they take it the first time and they get a 40 just based on the multiple choice, they just go ahead and already take it again. Okay. So I did a lot of talking there. I covered our major grading sections in our assignment. And then I also just covered the midterm and the final. Okay, let me see. What are some other I think that was it in terms of just covering the things about the syllabus. In terms of grading, okay, so yeah, that's my next thing. As it pertains to grading, I have the Canvas app. So usually I just kind of grade on my phone. So that means I'm usually pretty good about a turnaround time in terms of if you grade something that week, 9 times out of 10, you'll know what you made at the end of that week. That being said, life happens. And so I'm letting you know now, if it's maybe been a week or 2, just go ahead and kind of like shoot me an email and say, hey, Dr. Brown, I went ahead and took this quiz, just kind of shooting you a reminder if you can go ahead and get in and grade it. Because this part of the semester as an educator is, it's really busy because we got to deal with STAR. However, since I grade on my phone, I'm usually pretty good with making sure that I grade things in a quick enough turnaround so you can get an understanding of where you are in the class. That being said, so you said we have 2 attempts for the big test. We will have 2 attempts for the quizzes. Yes, you will have 2 attempts. You'll have 2 attempts for pretty much everything that you do. And assignments, I don't even limit it on attempts. You can keep trying until you get the grade that you want when it comes to assignments. But for quizzes, I do cap it at 2 times. So what was I saying? I was talking about what was I talking about? Wow, this has been a long day. I totally forgot what I was talking about. Could someone type in the chat box and remind me? Um, I was talking about grades. Thank you, Gina. Okay, grades. So again, with grades, every time I grade something, if you receive a 50 or below, I guarantee you I included a comment on the grade. So moving forward, if you get a grade of a 50 or below, before you email me, double check and look at your comments. Now, the messed up part is I don't believe Canvas will alert you if I've commented on an assignment. I think you can maybe look at it in the settings on Canvas, but if that is an option, I would definitely encourage you to turn it on because I always leave comments. And that's just to kind of let people know that if you want to turn it in again, that way you don't necessarily have to email me what you did wrong. You can look at my feedback and immediately work on it if you would like to turn it in again. Oh, which leads me to my next thing. If you make a 50 on something, you don't have to email me and ask if you can turn it in for a higher grade. I'm letting you know now, you can always, always, always turn something in for a higher grade. Part of the reason why I do that is because as educators, we always want to encourage, our younger students to try and try again. So I didn't want to feel like a hypocrite teaching that to the class, but then I don't hold you guys to that same liberty. So you can always try and try and try again. Oh, I'm sorry. I've been calling you Gina this whole time, Diana. You probably just gonna be Gina for the rest of the semester. But I'll try to remember that you are Diana and not Gina. Okay. Thank you. I apologize about that. All right. So yeah, the biggest thing is to always make sure that you check comments. If you make a 50, before you email me asking why you got a 50, check the comments because I've probably already told you. Now for discussions, if you get a 5 out of 10 on a discussion, it's probably because you just didn't comment on another person. And also, speaking of discussions, because it usually comes up, how do we know how many people that we need to respond to? I have a peer review setting on Canvas. So every time you do a discussion post, there will be, because some discussion posts, I don't know how many peer responses you need. Yeah, it does say technical difficulties. Okay, I should be back. Okay, so for peer responses, that will be based on Canvas. So like when you log on to Canvas, there on the right hand side, you might have a little, usually they have like a to do, and that's where it'll let you know when you need to respond to somebody. But you won't get that alert until you post your first discussion. Okay. Did my mic cut out or can we hear it? Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So now you guys can hear me. Okay. I think I've covered everything. I think I've covered all of the logistics about the course. If all else fails, definitely go through and read the syllabus, because everything that I'm like explaining, I've also kind of put it in the syllabus. And then of course, as the class goes on, you can always email me. All right, I have a question about the presentation. When recording, you want us to record ourselves? Yes. Okay. So when you record, I want to see you. I don't want a recording of you doing a voiceover over the slides. I want to see you presenting, because part of your grade is on how you present. Are you looking at the camera or are you just reading from the slide? So yes, I need to see you and you can either be sitting or standing. Just don't be laying down in bed. That was really funny. My first semester, I had somebody record from while laying down. If you use your phone, don't like lay the phone down flat and then you talk. So the whole video is me looking up at your chin and looking up at your nose. I also got a video like that before. So when you present, just kind of either standing or sitting, that's fine. But I want to be able to see your face. Okay. Are there any, at this point, because it's been about an hour, I'm going to open it up to if we have any questions. All right. How much time do we have in the midterm and final? You will have a week-long window for both. What is your why discussion mark? Because I haven't completed important aspect of personality. Okay. Let me log into Canvas and see what you are referring to, Diana. Is it timed? No, the final, none of my things are timed. You just have a week to complete it. But once that week is up, the week is up, because I give you 7 days. Okay. Diana, what section are you in? Are you in 20 or 21? Okay. Go ahead and refresh And hopefully you should go ahead and refresh, and you should be able to see those. You should be able to see week 1 now. But if you didn't complete everything in course 02, then you won't be able to see it either. So you have to make sure that you did your you did the assignment where you send me a screenshot of your email, and then you also need to take the Canvas quiz. Then you can see the week 1 module for intro to human development, SEL and PPR. It says this topic is part of okay. Yeah, I just fixed that part. I don't know if it takes a while for you to see it. But everything should be up and running and ready to go. Is anybody else having issues going in and seeing things? I don't think so. I see it now. Okay, so questions about the final. So that means we can open the test and go back the next day to work on it. Yes. So all of your quizzes, you'll be able to have that option to kind of work on it and then come back to it. And you don't have to complete it in one sitting. I toggled that setting to where it's turned off. Okay, so as we get into week 1, first you want to always start with your overview and your objectives. And on the pages, some of those due dates might be kind of off, but don't necessarily focus on the due dates that's in the week 1 in the overview, objectives, and instruction pages. Focus on the due date that's on the actual assignment link and the due date that is on the syllabus. Oh, the book. Arguably the most important part. This book is super important. I usually encourage students to buy it like off Amazon or a secondhand place, just because I know the bookstore, it's really expensive. But all of my questions come straight from the book. So you will need the book to be successful in the course, especially on the quizzes. So if you don't have the book currently, like it's still en route, you definitely want to partner up with somebody in the class that does have the book, because you will need the book for the quizzes. And I can always tell when a student is trying to take the quiz and they don't have the book, because you're gonna crank out either a 20 or a 30. But if you have the book, guaranteed easy 100 or 90 at the minimum. Orientation quiz says with 100, but it only gives you 2 attempts. That's more so to encourage you to use up all of your attempts, but just try to get as close to 100 as you can, because those are quizzes that you really need to know the answers to. I mean, those are questions you need to know the answer to, because they are practical things that will come up as you go through the course. So if you missed, like if you got a question wrong, you want to at least try to figure out what the answer is. Either email me or email one of your students or one of the other students in the class. Okay, so I'm going to move on to talk about week 1. So if you have questions like over the logistics of the class, I'm going to ask you to kind of hold on to that for a little bit, and I'll open, once class is over, I'll open it up for people who still have some lingering questions. Okay, so week 1, this is the first week. You don't have a quiz. Your primary focus is I want us to kind of get an understanding of what I mean when I say SEL, and then what do I mean when I say PPR. So SEL is short for social emotional learning. That comes from the kind of school of thought that we as educators, our primary job is not just to provide our students with instructional learning, but we also want to provide them with opportunities for them to grow socially and emotional. So in this class, anytime you turn in an assignment, I'm looking for that social emotional learning aspect, and how did you think of that as you planned the assignment. So I've included a video that kind of gives you a quick overview of what social emotional learning is. So, and you can see the 5 components of social emotional learning: that social awareness, self-awareness, self-management, relationship skills, and responsible decision making. So you kind of use this visual along with the video, and the video will kind of explain, well, what does it mean when we want to encourage our students to be more socially aware or to be more self-aware. In addition to, there's lots of information on there's a lot of information out there about social emotional learning, as it is a growing trend within schools to kind of really think about classroom management and just how we interact with students and their families. Now, the second piece are the PPR standards. Now, your PPR standards are separate from like the TEKS or the instructional standards, because PPR standards are just more of it really ties into it ties into the social emotional learning, because it's just, it encourages the teacher to think about how are you going to deliver the content, as opposed to I'm just going to teach the kids about, summarization, or I'm just going to teach them about Cold War. The PPR really forces you to kind of think about, okay, well, how are you going to teach them about the Cold War? Are you going to make sure that they work in groups? Are you going to make sure that you bring in examples from different, so that students of different backgrounds can relate? So as we go through and we talk about our first lesson plan assignment, I'm going to spend more time about the PPR standards, as well as social emotional learning, and what that looks like when you apply it to a lesson plan. But in the meantime, definitely go ahead and watch that video. And I've included a link that links all of your PPR standards. But then also on the syllabus page, I also have included the PPR standards that will pretty much be focusing on in the semester. So you just want to make sure that this week, if you don't have the book, and part of the reason why I had it for this week is because I knew some students would probably still be working on the book or working on getting the book. So even if you don't have the book, still use this week to really learn about SEL and learning about the PPR. And that's all information that you can find online. You don't necessarily need that to come from a textbook. Then after that, the what is your why? This is just an opportunity for everyone to introduce themselves and to really kind of explain, why are you going into the field of education? And if you're going into another field, you can still kind of explain that. It's really just an opportunity for us to get to know who you are and what drives you and what motivates you. And then also I like to use that because then I can kind of cater the class to, okay, like case in point, if I know I have, maybe a nursing student or something like that, when I talk or when I lecture, I'll make sure to kind of include that perspective of, okay, and this is what it would look like if you're a nurse. Oh, that's my dog that y'all just saw in the background. Okay, and that's pretty much this week. So this week, use it to secure the book. Use it to make sure that you really, really, really read through the syllabus, understand how things work. Just kind of use this week to understand the logistics of the course. And then next week, we'll really go into the content of chapter 1. So you don't have to have the book by this week, but by next week, you definitely want to have the book or at least access to the book until you can get your own book. And thank you, Alma. She just let us know that half price books, they have the book for $9.99. Okay. All right. This culminates class. So if you have somewhere that you really need to be, I am done talking about new information. So at this point, if you want to hang back and ask a specific question, you are free to do that. For everyone else, thank you. I appreciate your patience in dealing with all my technical difficulties and us starting late. Next week we will start between the times of 6:30 and 6:45. And I'll definitely be on a better laptop, so I'll be able to kind of do some screen sharing. Okay, question, Alma. Do we need to put our answers in our own words, or can we write the answers word for word from the book? Me personally, I prefer if you get it verbatim from the book, because as you'll notice on my quizzes, pretty much every short answer question, I always say substantiate your claim with a source. Use evidence from the book. So I want you to use the book when you do the short answers. That's the best way you'll be able to get them right. And I usually can tell when students kind of give an opinion that's not grounded in it, something I can always tell. So definitely make sure that whatever opinions whatever opinions you're expressing, it's based on some sort of claim. Can you go over the lesson plan assignment? Okay, so Maria, I'll go over the lesson plan assignments in detail as they come up. So the main thing that I expressed is, when you come to the assignments, just making sure that you read the description carefully and making sure that you read the rubric carefully. Okay, have a good night. Oh, and also, just because it's one of the first assignments that's due, for the assignment where you have to email me, please know that in order to get actual credit, you need to screenshot your email and upload it to the assignment link on Canvas. That's the only way that you're going to get graded. I haven't had a chance to look at the schedule. Are any assignments due during spring break? Of course not. I would never do that. Honestly, I wouldn't do that because I want to enjoy my spring break, and I can't enjoy my spring break if I'm, giving people assignments. So no, there will be no assignments due during spring break. You can use that I think the only thing I'll have is like a survey, kind of like a mid-year touch point. I push out an extra credit survey, and honestly, that's just for students to give me feedback on how the course is going. But it's not mandatory or anything. It's just important. It's just feedback that I like to have, so I can understand, what's working with the course and what's not working with the course, in case I need to kind of shift some gears. And again, the only reason why I'm hanging out is if anybody has any questions. So if you have something that you need to do, please know that class is officially over. But if you have a question, definitely go ahead and ask it, so I at least know, so I'll at least be aware. Thank you. Everyone is so polite and saying thank you and good night. All right. I think I'm going to go ahead and end the stream because I don't think I'm going to have any more questions. All right. Thank you, everybody, for taking out the time, and I will hopefully see you all next week on Tuesday.